Welcome to the TTT News Special. I'm DK Roster, and we are speaking to a young lady and her husband. But this young lady's vision is to bring the Trinbagonian flavor of pimento to every pot globally. And we're speaking with Candace Charles-Sennon, the CEO of Candy's Spices. She joins us with her loving husband, Alpha, no stranger to the program. So we say thank you for joining us, both of you. But Miss Candace, we want to start with you, though, and ask, why pimento?
Thanks for having me. Why pimento? I have a love for pimento. I cannot cook without pimento. So that's how this whole Candy Spices began.
Now, it's one thing to say that you can't cook without pimento, but moving from saying, okay, well, I have some pimentos in my hand or the fridge or in the yard, to say, okay, well, this is going to be a product that we put out there. Take me through that journey. What's the journey of creating the product?
So it started with me trying so every time I travel, I go to visit friends or family abroad, they will tell me, bring pimento. So usually before I travel, I cut it up, wash it, grind it, and freeze them. And just before the pandemic hit, they keep saying, when you come in, make sure and bring pimento. So last year in 2020, I decided to try something to keep that flavor and to preserve the pimento. So I bought a small kitchen dehydrator online and I dried the pimento, and I bought a small grinder, a coffee grinder, and then I dehydrated. After dehydrated, I grind it, and I realized that the product, the scent of the pimento remained, and even when you use it in your pot, the flavor is there. So I shipped some to my friends and relatives, and they loved it. They started sharing it with others, and everyone was like, "You have to do this. This have to become a product."
And here's where I want to bring in Alpha. And Alpha, how do you feel looking at this? Because it's one thing to say, okay, well, we're taking agriculture and making it agriculture, and we're trying to bring in people to different parts on different facets of agriculture, including agro-processing. But how do you feel seeing this so close to home, as it were?
Well, I'm so excited and so honored to be part of the journey with Candy, because this is all I advocate towards. Being able to take products and understand creating value-added products along the value. Understanding from the soil to the snack, from the plant to the pack, from the farm to the fork. Being able to really gather, from the mud to the market, and from the pimento to the pimento pack. I call it a snack for every Trinbagonian pot. This have me really excited to be able to see this dream come true for Candace, then, of course, supporting her along the way in her achieving this goal. But it's ideally what we at WHYFARM works towards, in getting more and more young people being able to create these value-added products along the value chain, create a story out of it, out of her love for pimento is what gave her this idea to be able to put this in a pack, dehydrated, and it have a very long shelf life, and we can ship it all over the world. So Trinbagonians who cannot come home, unfortunately, they could now have pimento in their kitchen, and for their pot to cook, so they get that same Trini flavor what they always wanted. So it's a dream come true for me, and watching her live out this journey is really, really, really exciting for me.
Mr. Sennon, I find every time we speak, you'll be mashing up my train of questioning, because I look at the fact that there is no MSG, there are no preservatives, but you already kind of answered the question that the shelf life is long. So, but Candace, but let me bring you back in though, please. So, did you have to try different packages, or was there something already that you said, let me go with this, and so that you could see a little bit inside? So, how did the process of packaging take place?
I usually go to a wholesale place in Sanwa, yeah, and I saw the package and I was like, this looks really good for the pimento. Because they could actually see what the pimento powder looks like. So I guess that's how I started that package, like using that package.
All right, and I really like to be able to look and see. Okay, well, this is how fine it is. So, is it powder? Is it green? I want it to look like the real thing. And one of the things I really appreciate about it thus far, just looking at it, because you talking about it, and I already smelling it and seeing myself adding it to the pot and all this kind of thing. But to do that, we need to get it. But I heard that you all have a distribution network already lined up. So I'll ask the question. I don't know who wants to answer it. How can we get it locally? This is before we talk about internationally.
Yeah, so I'll take a stab at this question. So we have been working with Massy Stores since last year. And that is WHYFARM, that is. So WHYFARM acts as a distributor for the candy spices pimento powder product, right? So what we did, we got it in Massy Stores, in about 5 to 6 Massy stores in different parts of the country: Superior, Massy, Marabella, Gullview, Trin City Superstore, St. Augustine Store as well as Westmall, the Massy there. So it's available at those stores. Now internationally, which is where the majority of the customers have been coming, they would inbox the Facebook page, and Candace would ship these products to those folks to their doorstep. In a lot of orders from America, in the US, Canada, and even London as well too. So folks could just literally inbox us for international orders, or even regional orders as well too, and they could get it straight to their doorstep. But ideally, the Massy stores have partnered with us to kind of provide it more or less nationwide, and people should stay tuned to see what other stores it would be coming up in. So WHYFARM acts as that distribution, because of our vast networking across the world as well too, to be able to support her and other young persons who would come up with products like this, to be able to support them to get it in Massy stores.
Now, Alpha, you raise a piece of bacchanal there, and I'll tell you 2 points. One, the Massy partnership. I want to talk to you about that a little more when we come back from the break, as well as the fact that thus far there have been more international orders than local. I want to ask you about that, but when we come back, stay with us.
Sure.
Hey guys, this is Candy from Candace Spices. So we're here at Massy in St. Augustine. So our product is at Massy, so come on down and get it. Support local.
Welcome back. We are speaking with Candace Charles-Sennon, also known as Candy, as well as Alpha Sennon. And Candy, I want to ask you, because a little earlier, before the break, I asked Alpha how he feels about these forward movements. Seeing yourself, seeing your products on the shelf, how does that make you feel?
I'm a very humble person, but I feel very elated knowing that Alpha does speak to people about products, and then I myself has a product. I'm very elated and thankful and grateful.
And Alpha, I'm sure even though Miss Candy is your wife and stuff, the product has to be at a certain level for you to want to promote it and say, okay, well, these are part of the things that we're putting out. So the importance of having a partnership with a brand like Massy, what's the significance of that?
Yeah, I think Massy being able to, who has this, if they call them a conglomerate company, and they have a wide range of chain of stores in Trinidad and Tobago, working with young people and a youth-led organization like WHYFARM to partner with, to help us, to help other youths. I think that is the power in it, being able to pass on that baton to other young people so that they could get their feet wet. For a long time in Trinidad and Tobago, I felt as though young people may not have had that opportunity to be able to see. When you see products in Massy, it's big companies, it's companies with long and everlasting legacies, family businesses that are going on for generations and generations to come. Ago. But now we see that youth and young people have a chance to put their product in the store. That is a step in the right direction for us at WHYFARM, because, it's one thing with telling young people, there's so many opportunities in agriculture, create a business, create a product, and then you create the product, you create the business, and then we're selling it. So now with this partnership with Massy Stores and even Massy Foundation, we work with them as well too. It allows us to be able to help other young people to get their products in the store and the fresh food and vegetables, because we supply fresh food and fresh vegetables and fruits in the Massy Superior stores as well.
And I like the fact that you speak about the power of collective effort. And you spoke about Massy being a conglomerate, as it were. And that makes me want to ask about the power of the collective on the farmer side or the agricultural side of it. Because I'm sure there would be people who, they have a product, but they're not sure where to go. They're not sure how to make those contacts. But then you have something like the WHYFARM or the Farmers Collective that you're a part of that has already done a lot of that legwork. So being able to tap into that is so important. And with a point like that, how do people tap into WHYFARM or the Farmers Collective? How do people contact you? How do people get some of these points to help them take themselves forward?
Sure. It's about collaboration and not competition, and complementing and not reinventing. The power of partnerships to be able to collectively farm or collectively supply a supermarket. One farm could only grow so much. So, for example, we supply the Superior Massy Stores, and we will put out ads to get farmers within the Superior community alongside our Farmers Collective to supply us, to supply them. Because we can grow cabbage, tomatoes, sweet pepper, dashing bush, okra, hot pepper, pimento. We can't grow it all. So then with other farmers coming together now, this is where we could actually be able to take their products, give them a sure market fit, and be able to supply to Massy Stores and some of the other suppliers that we actually supply as well too. And I feel as though with our Farmers Collective, more and more young people coming on board. Of course, because of the current situation, the SOE, we slowed down now and try to limit the face-to-face interactions. But post this period in our life, we asking more young people to reach out to us via our Facebook page, via Instagram. Contact us on our number 382-5780. Send a WhatsApp message, say that you're interested. Join our Plant Your Plate movement group. We are active WhatsApp group where people could come and learn things and share and barter produce, and be able to really create meaningful spaces, agricultural food spaces, where people could not just survive, but also thrive. And I think this is the time that we live in now. The one business that will always stand the test of time, I don't need to even say it, I feel all your listeners will be saying it loud, is agribusiness. The business that you must agree with. The one business that will stand the test of time is agribusiness. And no matter what, we need to eat.
Drunk or sober, mind your business. But with regard to those partnerships, Ms. Candy, you see anybody that you could be partnering with? Because people are doing different things. They're putting themselves out there in different ways. So is it that you see somebody who's making a new plantain chips or somebody who's making a new preserved mango plum, and before they even get to the stage where they're willing to produce and be selling their things, you say, okay, well, this is an ingredient that I'm sure you need inside your business. You see anything like that happening on your horizon?
Yes. Especially some restaurant owners, they have contacted me to buy the powder by the pound. Some pizza shop also contacted me.
Nice, and that brings up the question as well, because saying, okay, well, you could get it at Massy is one thing, but if you have people who want it in more, I guess, wholesale quantities, so those sachets wouldn't do with the amount of turnover that they will be having. So how do they contact you to do that? How do they organize that?
They can contact me via my Facebook page, Candy Spices, or call 383-0381.
All right, and with that, we are bringing the curtains down on the conversation for the television aspect of it. So we have you a little more, and that conversation will go into the digital platforms in terms of Facebook and YouTube. So thank you for tuning in. This has been the TTT News Special, and if you're tuning in on the digital platforms, stay, we have more for you. Welcome back. We are speaking with our agricultural Ukti and Aki in the forms of Candace Charles-Sennon and her husband Alpha Sennon. And Alpha, I said I would get to it, but I'm going to ask the question now. What do you make, or what do you attribute the fact to that you're getting more international orders right now than local orders?
Well, don't get me wrong. The product is definitely selling in stores locally, yeah? But for some reason, there's a more international buzz. You know, so on the Facebook page, is somebody from somewhere, Canada, and some state in the US, hitting up the page asking for more details on ordering. And I think it's simply the fact that, you know, you being a Trinbagonian abroad, you always want to cling on to something Trinbagonian. You know, and you see this thing now, this pimento powder. You know, and as Candace said, you know, so many people abroad always want this taste and this flavor and this smell of pimento in the pot, because that is what you grew up on, you know. So it's almost like if people see this pimento powder internationally, and for so long they see a pimento tree, then see a pimento in a store somewhere, and I think they just want this pimento, and I don't think there's any other pepper to replace pimento. Let's put it that way as well. But you know, in Tobago they call it flavor pepper. You know, and I don't think there's any flavor pepper in the world to replace this pimento. And I feel as though internationally people are just latching onto it, and as they see it online, it's like, nah, I need this in my pot to give me back some reminiscence of home. You know, people haven't seen Trinidad in a year, in 2 years now, based on the lockdown. And I feel this product, you know, helping them to give a little bit of, get a little bit of home feeling, I would say, and home taste as well too.
Yeah, well, you talking about that home taste, and I feeling like I need to wipe my mouth a little bit because I tasted it. But I wonder if, Candy, if you confuse any Jamaicans as yet though, because when they say pimento, they're talking about what we would call allspice. But I don't know, that might be part of the thing as well. But if you're saying candy spices, I'm thinking that pimento is just the start. Where are you going from here?
Yes, it's just the start. From pimento, I am actually in the process of trying shadow benny. A lot of my international customers, they are dying to get that bandania, shadow benny, however you want to call it, spice. So I'm looking into bandania and then into fried rice pack.
Okay, and I also want to ask you, by chance you feel as though you setting an example, or you showing the way that people can follow and not necessarily have the same ingredients or the same input, but saying, okay, well, I can take an idea and move it through till it is something that is on a shelf, till it is something that is international, till I am contributing to the agro-processing industry in Trinidad and Tobago. You feel that way?
Yes, I surely do feel that way. I feel that I am contributing and paving the way for others.
And we give thanks for that work that you're putting in. And Alpha, you mentioned lockdown, you mentioned SOE. Just me, one crisper, I might be wasting 2-3 pimento because I didn't realize that they were there. Looking at the fact that we've had weekends where farms, or not necessarily farms, but markets have not been able to open the way that they would have. So you find people scrambling to sell produce, to get rid of produce, to dispose of it in some way, because if it stays on their hands, it's not going to last. What does this, how does this kind of underline the importance of having increased agro-processing, so that, okay, we know these things aren't going to be wasted. We know that it's not just initial inputs. You take it out of the soil, you dust off the dirt and you sell it. But we increase and we send things up that value chain.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an Candy Spices fermento powder is just a perfect example of all of that. Zero wastage, adding value, because now you put how much of an amount of pimento in this pack. Now, I mean, I can't see how much pimento exactly is in the pack, and I think we're going to share that secret. But, and if you was to take the cost of these, how much of a pimento in this pack, as opposed to what the pack end up costing, it gone further up the value chain because it was agro-processed. Now, no additional chemicals, no other additives at all. But it now allows for this same farmer, who was getting his pimento at XYZ price, he could now get it at a different price because it's value added. And I'm just saying using the pimento as an example. And I think this is all what we've been preaching then in being able to zero wastage. We too much things are wasted because we don't have enough value added products for many things in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And everything we could add value with every single thing, from pumpkin to okra to baigan to Karaili, like where's the value added products for these things, right? And I think somebody out there, some young person out there, must be inspired by this Candy Spices story and I mean, it wasn't as easy as Candace is saying it now because there's a lot of hard work to get to the point of this product. But being able to pave the way that, you could create value with something that you may have there that may be wasting. Some farmer have a land next to you planting so much of watermelon, create a product out of this watermelon so that it reduces the wastage. And it sends him higher up the value chain and he get more money as it reaches closer to the consumer. The closer to the fork you get, the closer to the restaurant that producer, that pack gets, is the more money you get for it. And I think I can't emphasize this anymore, but I think people would definitely understand that the more you add value to anything, you have a car, the more you put spoiler and this and that and this light and whatever in the car is the higher market value for it. Similarly, the more you add things to a product is the higher it will sell for.
And this is something that I'm looking forward to in terms of we take that message and some people say from your lips to God's ears, so that when people say Trinidad and Tobago, they have so much more coming to mind than possibly Carnival or oil or these sorts of things. So we want to thank you very much, Candy. We want to thank you, Alpha, for the work that you're putting in, the light that you're shining, and the efforts that you are investing into Trinidad and Tobago to make agriculture, as you say, Alpha, agri-culture. And we want to thank you. This has been the TTT News Special. Thank you so much and have a blessed one.
Thank you very much for having us.